Manasseh at Tapang, both the Hong Kong, the father of all musicians. Lena handem moboga kwabe. Lena handem moboga kwabe. John Dope, Owebo, Chopper, Chopper, Demaleliole, Demalelio Babe, Please over cheers, vote for. Better labor. But we'll put to the floor. People game web for. May the sins of those in the mortuary be forgiven. I'm pleading to mankind to have love for one another, respect one another, respect. A better world is that which we learn to respect, make others feel more important than yourself. Then you enjoy the world. Kiera Lubish. What's in the town? Kalarenya, 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 Legole Pue, Kalarenya, 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 Chepo Lepue, Kalarenya, 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 Chepo Lepue, Kalarenya, 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 Chepo Lepue, Kalarenya, 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 Moshia, Kalarenya, 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 Molebu.
We kokari fuma chief asu sakwe we bongwa kinye omboka rikubi nya
eso make mo base
ngamboni nya
ro kimana ko base
Paulo
Mokoni monene Paulo de plaisir Eraka Obase ya rodito Eso make Obase ya rodito Elo kimana kobase Obase ya rodito Eso make Obase ya rodito Elo kimana kobase Ingerisa bengwana wasuwe Eso make Ingerisa mwana wasuwe Elo kimana kobase Ori nara kwe siri Eso make Ama mwase modio wasuwe Elo kimana kobase Oje, Barrio, Barrio, Tata Chief Siri Sakwe, Mbane mbimo hii, okay, ndiga mavinge, kono.
Okakele, keke bambete bakasa ni biyongo, okakele, keke bambete bakasa ni biyongo.
bato bari kome o tamene yindwake bato bari kome nene tamene yindwake imadomani sakani domani sakani imadomani sakani domani sakani wanyeringi aroko wanyeringi aroko wanyeringi aroko wanyeringi aroko imadomani sakani domani sakani domani sakani domani sakani
Listen carefully.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome to ABS, coming to you from the great state of Texas, precisely here in Houston. It's always a privilege to come into your homes with updates on the Amazonian struggle for independence actualization. It's a great day to be alive and to be here once more with you. I'd like to welcome all of you who are joining from Ground Zero, where it all started. And those of you on Ground One, where you are struggling, suffering out there as a refugee, we welcome you and we thank you for always being there, tuning in to be on ABS. For those of you also joining from Europe, including the United Kingdom, the USA, the continental USA, including Canada, thank you for tuning in. If you are joining from South America and from Asia, the far and the Middle East, as they call it, whoever divided the Middle East, we don't know. Thank you for joining. It's going to be very exciting tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you are joining by way of Facebook, the social media, please do us a favor and go ahead, hit that share button. Hit that share button so in the twinkle of an eye, we can saturate the social media platform. Get every Amazonian and Amazonian advocate to join the broadcast. It is going to be very, very interesting. You already saw the headline as advertised yesterday in the poster. Paid to play. Paid to play. That is the main subject of the day. And I hope we are going to do justice to that subject. Again, please go ahead, hit your share button. Hit your share button. Let us populate the platform, and I come to you with the presentation proper. Now, while you do so, I'd like you to know that ABS is now on Roku. If you are in the diaspora, anywhere in the diaspora, you can watch ABS on Roku live 24/7. So after this live broadcast, you can still watch ABS just as those watching from Africa 24/7. You can watch it anywhere across the globe now 24/7 by way of Roku. So if you have Roku at home, all you need to do is turn it on, go to the search button, click the search tab in Roku and enter ABS Africa TV. ABS Africa TV, and it will pop up. You will see the logo, ABS logo, the one you see on your screen right now. You will see that logo. You click on it and it will populate the icon, the Roku icons on your TV, so that every moment you want to turn on to ABS, all you need to do is to click on that icon, the ABS icon. This is what I am talking about here. Now, if you look at your screen, you see Netflix is an icon, Disney is an icon, Apple TV is an icon, Stars is an icon, Showtime is an icon, Roku channel is an icon. Now, you will not have to click Roku channel. If you are looking at the entire screen there, you see the column on your left. You see Roku, you see home, you see featured free, my feed, movie store, TV store, search. All you have to do is click on the search button, enter ABS Africa, and you will find us. You will find your ABS wherever you may be, for as long as you have internet, good internet at home. That is all you will need to do to watch ABS on Roku. It is free. You don't have to pay a dime to get there. So please spread the news to friends out there. Let them know that ABS is spreading its wings to across the globe. All right, great. Now, before I get into my subject proper, again, I expect all of you who are just joining, please quickly hit that share button. I want to see at least 700 people before I come to you with my special presentation, and I am going to start with that. I am going to start with that monologue. So please go ahead, hit the share button as you join. 700 people before I bring you the monologue. Go ahead and do that. While you are doing so, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to know that something that's a fraudulent, what I consider a fraudulent exercise that is about being played out there, as you find on your screen. Nothing like 2022 drive. The only thing we know here at the interim government is for you to pay your ARF fee. ARO stands for Ambazonia Restoration Fee. Ambazonia Restoration Fee. Nothing like draft. The word draft is out of the vocabulary of this interim government. And so when you hear the word draft out there to scheme, from schemers, know that it's a fraudulent exercise that Sako and the Bitcoiners hope to carry out there. Ambazonians were all aware that that man has been impeached and removed as your leader. He did his best in the last 4 years and counting. And he is now out, and this is the reign of Iya Marianta as leader of the interim government of Ambazonia. And so the word vocabulary does not exist in this interim government. We are not calling for a draft. We have not called for a draft. We do not plan to call for one. It is called ARF. That's what is known here, ARF, Ambazonia Restoration Fee, ladies and gentlemen. So it is incumbent upon every Ambazonian out there to register. Thank God the website is getting ready for every Ambazonian in the diaspora to go ahead, register, pay just your one-time $200, ladies and gentlemen. One-time $200. You can pay more if you like, but the minimum is $200. That is all we expect from every Ambazonian out there. So we ask you to please go ahead and make your payment. Make your payment. Go ahead, make your payment, and that is all that the interim government demands from every Ambazonian out there. Nothing like a draft. Now we are aware that somewhere Ekomesako is announcing some draft coming up at this weekend. Now they do not want to stream it on TV. So we have learned, we don't know what they are hiding from. Again, if that is not fraudulent, if it is not fraudulent, we don't know why they wouldn't stream it or broadcast it on their set. But I learned they have said no, they are not broadcasting it. In fact, I learned there was a fight in their last APP so-called meeting, ladies and gentlemen, and they were struggling whether to do a draft. They were fighting whether or not to have a draft, ladies and gentlemen. They were fighting whether or not to have a draft. I'm monitoring somebody here. Give me a second here. So they were fighting whether or not to have the draft. But it was unanimous that the draft should not be conducted on TV. They would just go sit somewhere, fabricate some figures, and then come on TV and announce them. But the draft proper will not be on the TV. How do you compare this to 2020 and 2021? How do you compare this? How do you compare that? So they have said no draft on TV. They will just sit at one corner and jam the figures together, come on TV and announce, oh, His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief has raised $800,000 for 2022 draft. And then when you ask, where is it? They won't show you. But one important thing is that, ladies and gentlemen, they don't have a single bank account. They don't have a single bank account, which is why there was contention in their meeting, whether or not to even carry on a draft. This interim government has recovered all the bank accounts from them. And when I say this, they say, oh, you see, Chris is giving evidence for their lawsuit. We're not shied away from saying we recovered every single bank account except for ABC that belongs to the people of Ambazonia. And ABC, they can expect us to come after them as far as ABC is concerned. We will come after them for it. But for now, they have no single bank account that belongs to Ambazonia Foundation, that belongs to Southern Cameroon's Foundation. They have none. We have taken over everything, and we have taken over the CID plus the website, the interim government website. And so I learned that at their meeting, there was an infighting as to where we're going to keep the money if we conduct a draft. That was this, the subject of the infighting. So right now, we don't even know they can afford a draft because they don't know where to put the money. Ladies and gentlemen, this is to say that if you give them a dime, that money goes into individuals' bank account because they don't have a single bank account out there. They don't have any corporate bank account out there. You give your money, and I don't know why anybody should give Sako a dime, considering that for 4 years he conducted 2020 draft, 2021 draft, plus all the lava storms and special fundraisers. We have not seen an audit. Sako will not agree to sit down for an audit for accountability of what he did with your money for the past 4 years and counting. So, which is why we are warning Ambazonians. You put down a dime for them, you give them a dime, that money will go towards funding their Bitcoins accounts and investments, wherever that investments may be. They call it, one is called World Financial. World Financial, I learned that is where they have lots of investments. So please, fellow Ambazonians, without any accountability, I don't care if they own a group. That group is not an interim government, but they can own one. They are free. It is a legitimate thing to do to own a group, but not this interim government. And so if you want to give them money for a certain group, I don't care about it. But why should you even consider it for a man who will manage millions in dollars and will not sit down for once for an audit? Yours truly was berated for escaping or avoiding an audit. You remember that? And then when it came to their turn, Sako preferred to dismiss the Restoration Council. He preferred to resolve the Restoration Council than sit for an audit. Think about that. And up to today, he still hasn't met with the audit board. In fact, I think he fired the audit chair. Of course, it is illegitimate anyway because he has no powers to fire anybody at the moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, somebody was supposed to be joining me to give us some insights as to what happened at that meeting. This is going to be brief. Let's see if she can join me and give me that insight. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are. Do not put in a dime. Do not even contemplate donating a dime. Hold on, please. Hold the line. Do not even contemplate putting down a dime for Irene Ngwa, for Samuel Ekome Sako. They are not fit to manage anybody's dime. I mean a dime. Because if they cannot account for the millions put in their disposal a few years ago, they should not be entrusted with anything. So please go ahead, hit your share button while I am joined by the one and honorable Ann in there, who has some inside information to share with us as to what went on in that meeting. Listen to me. What went on in that meeting I think it was last week, with Sako's hand clappers. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Secretary Chris. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Good to hear your voice. Please, while we are doing this, I need to see 700 people in the next 5 minutes. It's over 500 now. I need to see 700 in the next few minutes before I bring you the monologue. All right. The Honorable Ann Indus, you related to me the information you received from somebody who was in Sako's APP meeting and how they were fighting whether or not to conduct a draft. Tell us what you learned.
Yeah, it was funny because I have friends. Anyway, I still have friends who are there, and I respect their decision to be there. And at times we just share, we'll chat together. So shockingly, the friend told me, yeah, you coup plotters have won. I say, why? Say, yeah, this is the 4th time a draft was being postponed in that meeting because there is no bank account.
Because there is no bank account?
It was interesting. Yeah,
okay.
It was interesting. So I said, okay, what is happening? Where are the bank accounts? So the friend told me that we all hijacked the bank account, and the only bank account in the APP meeting, he understood that the only bank account they have now is that of ABC, and the one of ABC had a limit of 50,000. So if since we took over the National Treasury, everything has been going through the account of ABC, and they are almost exceeding that limit of 50,000 if they launch the draft using that account.
So are you really telling me that they have over or they have close to 50,000 in ABC account today?
No, what the friend told me is that they have their account cannot take more than 50,000. I understood that. So even if you put money there, if it's 5,000 and you take it out, and then the next day you put 10,000, it means the account has already received 15,000.
Okay.
So not like there is 50,000 deposit lying in that account. That is what an account limit is. It cannot, anytime the money goes above that amount, the account, the terms must be maybe rearranged before another, or they can do another arrangement or agreement with the bank to maybe to extend the limit of the account. But the maximum limit of the ABC account, as per their APP meeting on Thursday, was 50,000, and they had been using it already. So they are about to exceed that limit. So the friend told me that there was really a serious issue and a lot of infighting or quarreling amongst them because UN was forcing Sako to launch the draft, claiming that it's another coup that wants to take place. And
you and Ocheba, the village headmaster, was so bitter. He said, not conducting the draft would tantamount to another coup. Is that what you said?
Yes, that he had initially seen the first coup that we plotted and alerted them, and they ignored it. And now Nijo is about to do the same, and they are ignoring because Nijo is the one, according to him, who stood up to explain. Because I asked him who made this explanation, and he said it was Nijo who said they cannot do the draft, so they have to postpone it. So it was really interesting, and I said, okay, tell me more about it. So what are you planning to do now?
Yeah.
So he said that they have advised that every LGA or county should go and register as an NGO, and so before the draft can commence. And
every county should go and register as an NGO.
Yes, and register
and
as
then
an
create
NGO.
bank accounts or what?
Yeah, create bank accounts based under the names of the NGOs, because Sako did not want money to go into individual accounts.
Okay.
And that they should learn a lesson from what the coup plotters are doing.
And how many counties were
actually
actually represented in that meeting? Any idea?
Because I asked him that, okay, how many counties were registered? He said only 3 had already had done that, and only those 3 will be drafted.
Okay.
And he referred the almighty Mesa was not even registered. And then there was another problem they had in that their APP meeting, because that the National Treasury they are trying to reconstitute is not even fully represented. Only 5 counties are there. 8 counties are still not sending representatives. So it was shocking. So that was interesting. So I asked him, why are they not sending representatives?
Yeah.
And which counties were those? So I don't remember a lot, but I know he said Mezam was one of them. Lebi Alem, Ndian, all those ones, and he counted quite a lot.
Yeah.
8 counties that did not have representatives. But from what I know, I already know that he said Boyo had a representative, Menchum had one, Kupe Ngokotunja had one. Sorry.
Okay.
So I don't know of another one. But and then he told me that one of the counties, and then there was another issue in the meeting when another chairman or a representative said that the representative they sent to the National Treasury, who was their financial secretary, just resigned, even as financial secretary, and somebody claimed that he is going to join the coup plotters. I said, so we are winning.
Good. So you also mentioned that. Oh, that thought just went off my mind. But as of now, you are not sure their draft, so-called draft, is taking place at the weekend because they don't have a bank account yet.
No, so far what he told me as per their APP meeting, he told me that Ochiba was forcing Sako to read out a message. He told me that he exited the meeting earlier, but before he exited,
who exited
Ochiba
earlier, Ochiba or Sako?
No, the friend of mine who gave me this story.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
but
hit your share button at least 700 people before I bring you my monologue next, which is very, very important. And I'm being joined tonight by Tapang Ivo, Barrister Thomasine, and the one and only Sama Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, hit your share button. I will be up with my monologue next. Honorable Anne, so go ahead. Now, you also mentioned that they said they are not doing the draft on TV. Why would they not do it on TV as usual?
I think that he said what he told me is that Padita was insisting that they should just go and launch the draft, because that is just the launching before they start drafting counties. But there was an issue that no county is ready because only 3 could be drafted, and 10 counties out of 13 cannot be drafted. So I didn't really understand why that was another issue for them, because only those 3 are registered as NGOs as per my understanding.
Okay.
And then what was interesting is that he told me that Ochiba kept texting Sako, sending messages to Sako, and then Sako was about maybe addressing the house, and Sako stopped the address and lashed out at Ochiba. So he lashed out
saying
on Ochiba,
that what?
telling Ochiba that he should stop forcing him to read what he wants people to hear, that he's not an activist. And then he was really sarcastic, because he told me that he laughed, and then because Sako paused and then said again, yes, I might be an activist, but this is a government and I am the president, so this is my cabinet. So in here I'm not an activist, and stop forcing me to read what you are sending to my phone. Even if you send it 100 times, I'm not going to read it, Ochiba. Stop forcing your idea on me. So that is where he said after that he became really interesting,
yeah.
And then he didn't stay quite long in the meeting.
All right, and thank you for joining me with this information. You have a great night, man.
Thank you, Secretary Priest.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will now take you into the subject of the day, the release of Ma'am Regina Mundi from captivity. Now, remember, I'm not calling it the freedom, I'm calling it the release. A lot of people to Cameroon would want, a lot of people to Cameroon and the ADF would want you to believe she was freed. She was free through their operation. But I use the word release to mean a deliberate handover to the forces of La République du Cameroon. But before I take you into that presentation, I'd like you to take a look at these images of Mundi coming out of detention, ladies and gentlemen. A few days ago, I think that was precisely on Tuesday. Look at this. That was, I think, Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. Look at that. That is Senator Regina Mundi. I think they said that was Bamenda Airport, Bamenda or Bafut Airport. And then I will also love you to look at this other image. Look at the shoes, the boots of those La République du Cameroun terrorists allegedly freeing Regina Mundi. Do you look at those shoes and those boots? Do they look like shoes and boots of an army coming from a battlefield? Does it even look at how polished? Look at how polished, ladies and gentlemen, those boots they look like. But above all, I'd like you to hear from Madam Regina Mundi herself, a statement she made at that airport to the media. Listen to her now.
Landed at the Bamenda airport here now.
Your Excellency, and all the generals here present, there are times when a politician cannot talk much. As a teacher politician, I should not lack words, but there are times when the emotions are too heavy. I'm really overwhelmed with a concern for my release, starting from the presidency. In fact, I thank the head of state. I thank the governor. I thank all the generals and all the military people. As they say in pidgin, story long, time short. What I have seen in this month is not what we can talk here. But this country, this region is at war, real war. It is not easy. It is really difficult for the military. It is not easy. We shall have time to talk more. But just to let you know one thing, that our country is such that everyone is treated fairly and equally. There's a lady I travel with. I wish she were out of the car so the governor would have seen her out of the
Helicopter.
She was detained, and the military rescued her. So the military will rescue anybody. It's not just a senator that the military will go after to rescue. The military will rescue everybody. We met as prisoners. I didn't know her as such, but I know one thing: she is a Cameroonian.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, that was the immediate testimony of Senator Regina Mundi after being released by the ADF and handed over to soldiers belonging to La République du Cameroon. She says one thing: this country is at war and the military is doing a great job. Look at where her praises go to. Ladies and gentlemen, she says the country is at war, but the military is doing a great job, lavishing praises at La République du Cameroon. And not one thing she also says there, that the military will free everybody, not just the politicians like ourselves. Now I bring you my monologue, and after that, Tapang Ivo will join. A few weeks ago, I reached out to the ADF with our colleagues after they acknowledged the arrest and custody of La République du Cameroon Senator Regina Mundi. While many people argued and criticized the ADF over her arrest, some saying that she was the wrong target, being that she's Amazonian too. I felt rather strongly that Senator Mundi wasn't any different, ladies and gentlemen, from John Frundi, Cardinal Toomey, Fond of and so those 6 delegates in Indiana and others who have had to face similar predicaments for their rules in choosing to continue to service La République du Cameroon while they continue to carry on a genocidal war on our people with impunity. The ADF stated then that Senator Mundi was only going to regain her freedom at a swap of prisoners with La République du Cameroon, pointing to the specific case of SCNC chairman Info Ngala Info, who at his old age languishes in Kondenge. Many people, including yours truly, felt it was too small a demand or exchange, considering the weight of Regina Mundi in the government of La République du Cameroon. Even so, we were all ready to settle for the minimum the ADF could put up in exchange for her freedom. She has now been released. She is free, a free person. But Info Ngalanfo is still in prison. Not a single prisoner or detainee of ours was swapped for Regina Mundi. That is the news. Right after Miss Mundi was arrested, I was informed through her family sources that the ADF was demanding 80 million francs CFA for her freedom. The demand was being made in spite of the declaration not to free her unless there was a prisoner's swap. This is to say that from day number 1, the ADF never set out to effect such a swap as promised. It was merely a mind game. It was all about money or ransom business as usual. Late on Monday, May 30th, the social media got undaunted with news of the release of Regina Mundi by means of an invasion of a secret base, we are made to believe. A press statement roughly translated in English from the Cameroon Defense Ministry states regarding the circumstances under which Miss Mundi was freed that, and I quote, "A detachment made up of elements of our defense and security forces has been engaged since the morning of Sunday, May 29. Note that, Sunday, May 29, in an operation in a terrorist refuge at Ashong, in Batibo, Momo Division," end of quote. The statement continues, and I quote again, "As our men approach on the evening, note that again, the evening of Monday, the 30th, heavily armed terrorists opened heavy fire to halt the progress, while some of their comrades tried to escape with the hostages held captive. The appropriate and professional response of the elements of the defense and security forces were able to get the hostages and put them out of harm's way. End of quote. Now, the report gives this summary assessment of the entire operation. It states, number one, that several hostages were released during the operation, including Senator Elizabeth Regina Mundi. Number two, that a dozen of terrorists were neutralized or killed, with several others injured and on the run. Number three, that 3 terrorists were captured during the operation. Number 4, that several assault rifles and ammunition of various calibers were seized in the operation. Number 5, that 14 improvised explosive devices were also seized and neutralized. Number 6, that an all-terrain pickup vehicle used by the terrorist gang was seized too. And lastly, number 7, that the vehicle of Senator Elizabeth Regina Mundi was recovered. A critical appraiser of this mission report emerging from the Cameroon Defense Ministry is very crucial in determining the real circumstances surrounding the freedom of Regina Mundi. The conclusion is that Regina Mundi wasn't freed, as the Cameroon Defense Ministry and the ADF would want everyone to believe. Regina Mundi was actually released, and I will explain it to you. First, there was 80 million CFA francs on the table. I mentioned this the first time I reported on this subject. It was enticing and mouth-watering an offer, enough to initiate the certain setup that is now being described as a special operation. Sources in Yaoundé have confirmed this, though they were not able to state the exact amount of money paid the ADF in exchange for Miss Mundi's release. Same Yaoundé sources have disclosed that apparently the Yaoundé regime didn't want to be seen as respecting the demands that Regina Mundi be swapped for Ambazonian prisoners languishing in Kondenge. It would be considered stooping too low to elements they prefer to describe as terrorists. Therefore, a few unknown Ambazonian detainees or prisoners will be released in the days ahead as part of the deal. This is what we learn. But other circumstantial facts are very compelling. They point to the obvious, that there was indeed no invasion, no operation in Ashong, the village in Batebo where Regina Mundi is said to have been rescued. They say the rescue operation, per the report from the Ministry of Defense, began, and I quote, the morning of Sunday, end of quote, and lasted through again, and I quote, the evening of Monday, May 30th, a total of more than 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. This operation, if indeed there was any, didn't just go on for an hour or 2 hours. It went on for over 24 hours, from early Sunday morning to Monday evening, they say. For an operation lasting this long, don't you think somebody would bear witness to it? Somebody who have seen it, isn't it? Except you want me to believe that the entire village of Ashong was put to sleep for over 24 hours using some form of anesthesia, isn't it? Unless you want us to believe that. This is the question. Who in the village of Ashong saw this operation? Who saw La République du Cameroon soldiers carrying out this mission in Ashong? Who heard their gunshots? Of course, nobody. If anyone saw them or heard the fire exchange, the social media would have been undaunted, of course, with reports of Cameroon soldiers invading Ashong or invading Batibo. But for over 24 hours, we had no operation or presence of La République soldiers there. What you make of this is as good as mine. There was no operation in Ashong, contrary to what Ayaba in his audio and La République du Cameroon want us to believe. But if this isn't good enough to convince anyone that nothing happened in Ashong, consider this one. Their report says many hostages were freed, including Mrs. Mundi. Maybe that is true. We saw Mrs. Mundi in that video footage at a press conference making reference to a certain woman they won't want anybody to see. That lady was sitting in the car behind them. But how about the reported dozen terrorists that were allegedly killed or neutralized? How about them? How about the other 3 that they say were captured? How about the several others injured? Where are they? How come nobody has seen them? Or were they buried in a mass grave? But even if they were buried in a certain mass grave, somebody, ladies and gentlemen, would by now have seen the mass grave, isn't it? If I may ask, since when did the genocidal soldiers of French Cameroon start concealing or hiding bodies of killed terrorists, as they like to call it? Since when? Remember General Ivo? Remember General Ayeke? Remember how their bodies were displayed in public squares in Kumba for everyone to see? You recall that? Remember the ammunition they once seized in Bafut, in Bali, in Libialem, in Ngolketunche, in Insop? They didn't waste time to parade them and to send photo shots to the social media. If La République du Cameroon and the ADF want us to believe that this operation indeed took place, we are dying to see the evidence in images or footages from a young place. Where are the several assault rifles and the ammunition of various calibers they said were seized in the operation? Where are they? How come this time they won't make a parade of such a big catch that includes even vehicles? How come? One more thing. Please, you saw the images of Regina Mundi there. Look at the boots and the shoes of people returning from a 24-hour operation. Look at how polished, still looking well polished. No sign of fatigue on them or stain. Look at Mrs. Mundi. Look at hers. Does she really look like someone snatched from the fear of certain terrorists? Of course not. Who returns from an operation of such magnitude, like the soldiers you find in that picture, and look as clean as they do? Again, the point is that the operation that the ADF wants us to believe took place is a convenient fabrication of their own imagination. It doesn't exist. It did not happen. The only thing that people quickly grasp, ladies and gentlemen, from ADF's own reporting is the disclosure by Capo Daniel that they were offered 80 million francs CFA, but they lost it. They want the public to believe in the operation. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe what they really meant to say is that they took the 80 million francs CFA and released Mrs. Mundi. All facts point to that conclusion, but their own testimony. Else, why would Capo Daniel rush without any inquisition to want you to know they were offered 80 million CFA? What's the wisdom in it? Of course, none. But that isn't what is important here. What is important is the fact that this action by the ADF and Cho Ayaba in particular has once again confirmed the fears of many Ambazonians that the ADF does not fight against La République du Cameroon, they fight for them. They are not in this struggle for Ambazonia. They are a proxy for La République du Cameroon. They are their agents. That is the point. Look at the PRO victory that La République du Cameroon is running with at the release of Mundi. How does it benefit our side? If anything, they are telling the world that they can indeed restore security in Ambazonia, that their military can protect every citizen, as in the words of Miss Mundi herself. You heard it in that video. Thanks to the ADF and Cho Ayaba. This was the singular opportunity for ADF's redemption, debate, so to say, upon which Cho Ayaba and his organization were going to be measured to prove all of us wrong who have said in the recent past he doesn't fight for Ambazonia. Ayaba failed. The ADF failed. They all failed the test. Some of us were beginning to think the moment is here to start embracing the ADF into the struggle as stakeholders. But no, the ADF remains as dangerous an adversary as a terrorist genocidal regime in French Cameroon. The ADF, they are not comrades. They should never be called comrades by any freedom-loving Ambazonian. They should be called opponents and fools. What do we learn from the footage and the first statement from Mrs. Regina Mundi? What do we learn from it, ladies and gentlemen? We learn that she is back home, proudly back home, but not back home as to her residence. She is back home to the party, the great party. She is back home, ladies and gentlemen, to the CPDM. She is back home to her one and indivisible Cameroon. Listen to her thank the head of state, right? In that footage, you heard it. She pours accolades on the invading colonial forces and says they do a great work for all Cameroonians. All Cameroonians. Hear what she says on camera. She says the invaders and terrorists who are responsible for over 30,000 deaths of our own people, and I quote, will go any length to rescue any Cameroonian, end of quote. In that video footage, that is the PRO Miss Mundi gives on behalf of La République du Cameroon. Thanks to the ADF. And now, I have heard some argument out there that the ADF came out with at least something to their credit. That the money, the 80 million the ADF collected, is such a huge amount to buy lots of ammunition for the fighters. Does this even make sense to anybody? Who would the ADF buy arms to fight against? You mean buy arms to use in kidnapping and killing our own people, isn't it? Or who do you really have in mind? Does anyone think that La République du Cameroon will give her own proxy 80 million francs to buy arms to fight her? Does it even make any sense? Of course not. The money, ladies and gentlemen, the money is all for the sharing. The money is all for the sharing. And that is my monologue to you today, ladies and gentlemen. I am now being joined by Tapang Ivo. Tapang Ivo, who until recently happened to be an executive member of the ADF, AGOVC. Tapang, it's great to have you, sir.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chris. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Thank you. I read something that you put out, I think that was yesterday, and you wrote, "The bees I know will show you photos of those killed during the Regina Rescue Exchange mission. They will show you images of the camps destroyed, the camp where Regina was kept. They will show you all kinds of bravado images. They did it for General Ivo, they did it for General Ayeke, they did it for Chacha, etc. You say. If they have not shown you a single image, it means money probably changed hands. It was well coordinated with the preservation of lives for money exchange. Our ancestors must be weeping in their graves." Well put out there, Ivo. Tell us, why do you believe money changed hands? Indeed, of course, I have made that explanation, but from your own perspective, tell us why you thought money changed hands. Or maybe you are privy to some information that we do not. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you very much for having me on your show. I think I'll be as honest as possible without blending or without mixing or mincing words or blending into other groups. I partially do agree with most of what you've said in your monologue. Likewise, I may also disagree on a couple of items that I would certainly explain or expatiate on this show. So principally, I wrote that particular post, which is absolutely very, very correct. You've clearly used my words there, and I said probably changed hands, probably exchanged hands. That is what I was saying. Truly, if you look at what happened yesterday in Batibo, in Ashong village, you would realize that the bees were completely very clean. If you look at, basically, if any novice has been in this revolution for the last 4 years,
right,
the bees have been very consistent with their MOs. The first thing that they always do is to show the dead bodies of those they've killed. Secondly, they would also display the camps they've destroyed. And as you clearly stated, and you were citing from Cameroon's media reports, the Ministry of Defense, I don't know why you would even want to pick on the Ministry of Defense report, which is completely propaganda. But if they are spewing out their propaganda and saying camps were destroyed, civilians were rescued, others were killed, but we did not see any of those images. So they are faking the news and they are manufacturing consent. And this is exactly what is misleading the revolution, because we keep believing in La République du Cameroon and its propaganda news outlets, including Mimimefo. Secondly, I stand by my words that true, most probably money exchange hands. But as you've said, I think you've cited on a couple of, in a couple of instances, you've said 80 million. I want to roll back the memories.
Let me just clarify that. When Regina Mundi was first picked up, I received a phone call from somebody in the family. And the information was that they were at the ADF, in spite of the fact that they were out saying they're gonna exchange Regina Mundi for Ngalanfo. They were telling the family at the same time to give them a ransom of 80 million CFA. Now, I don't know whether you read what Capo Daniel put out yesterday. She clearly stated they were offered 80 million and they lost it to the operation. So
did he use the word ransom?
I don't recollect that enough.
But I would
but
like
she
to
clearly
explain
mentioned
something
they were
because
offered 80 million. It was on the table, but they lost that due to this operation.
All right, so I would like to roll back the minds of everyone in Ambazonia to maybe 3 weeks ago. I wrote out 2 propaganda campaigns on my Facebook page. The posts are still available, in which I stated that it was 100 million and it was about 80 million. Probably Capo Daniel picked on that and he was spewing out that to the public. I think it's an issue of miscommunications, and when you put the wrong people in the right communications channel, you would expect maybe garbage out. So this is exactly what is happening. Certainly millions exchange hands, and I don't know, maybe 500 or 50 or 80. I will not put any figure on it. And I'm saying probably because I'm not sure about it, but I know for sure a fact that the ADF, that happens to be the most I would say the most prominent defense forces on the ground, contrary to you stating that they are all working for La Republic, which I completely
that is very debatable. You know that. That is very
well,
debatable.
It's not debatable because I'll prove to you a couple of points. I'll prove to you a couple of points where the ADF has taken actions against La Republic, including the most recent arrest of Regina Mundi, whom you hailed in this particular show. And
absolutely. Hold on there, Tapang. We all hailed them. I mean, I think that was the very first time I hailed them.
So why will you hail La Republic?
Hail La Republic for doing what?
That you said ADF is La Republic, so why are you hailing
La
Republic?
That's what I want to explain to you. When you pick Regina Mundi and you tell all of us, we are going to exchange her for Pa Info Ngalanfo. But Pa Ngalanfo is still languishing in Kondenge, and you collect money just as you and myself we are saying. How is that a plus? How do we say they are fighting against La Republic in that action?
All right, true. You may I would say that's your rational thought. I will not say it's a lie. I will not say it's true, but those are your rational thoughts. But this is exactly where I come in. I hate it, and I want to say it on record, Mr. Chris. I hated the fact that ADF released this lady, whether through a rescue campaign or whether through any form. Why? Because millions of our civilians have died in the course of this revolution, which I do respect your integrity in this revolution, reporting on those deaths. And hundreds of our civilians are in the prisons, not in the prisons in Bamenda or in Boya, but in the neighboring country of La République du Cameroon. Now, I stand for prisoner of war exchange or swap. And so I was angry completely. Right now, I am still very angry why this lady would be let loose when she is a terrorist of the highest caliber in La République du Cameroon. Remember, she came out of prison and she's thanking the head of state.
She thanked the head of state and she thanked the military. And you can see
the military for rescuing her.
Lelela Frick smiling.
But she did not thank the ADF for arresting her, meaning that the ADF is not La Republic, the ADF is an opposite force. So which means it first of all dismisses your argument that the ADF works for La Republic, and secondly, it tarnishes your own argument that the ADF is collaborating with the La République du Cameroon military. Because I expected this politician to thank the ADF for the job well done, if truly that was it, but that's not the case.
Well, that argument doesn't hold water at all, because what do you expect Regina Mundi to do? To be standing in front of those uniformed officers, the governor is there, and all the important people in the city, in the state are there to say thank you, ADF.
Certainly, ADF is part of La République du Cameroon, so they should thank the ADF sister force, going by your argument, which is ludicrous. I think basically it's all hubris if you want to reduce the ADF to La République du Cameroon. I have been, and I am a member of the ADF, although not within the circles, and I stepped back because of some family reasons. But truly and honestly, I still hate La République du Cameroon, and I'll pick a gun any day and time against La République.
Of course. You and I, we all hate La République. Now, when you want to give the ADF any credit for what had just happened, the release of Miss Mundi, What would you say of the PRO game that favors La Republique, not the ADF, not the independentists? It favors La Republique as far as international community is concerned. La Republique is saying, see, we can go after, we can release our citizens. We can ensure security. And you heard it also from the mouth of Miss Mundi. The soldiers are not only going for the politicians, they are going for the regular citizen. I mean, how do you give that to the ADF? If the ADF had held that lady, hold on, I will get to you. If the ADF had held that lady and said, listen, I mean, if we had gotten only one Kondenge detainee or prisoner released and the ADF released that lady, I'm telling you, we will all say they tried, because we understand the pressure of keeping somebody of that caliber and having to be running from place to place. But they didn't do that.
Good. I do agree with your premise there. I had some work to do, but I have sacrificed that. We will stay on this call for as long as possible to have an honest and frank discussion.
Wonderful. Yeah. That being the case, hang on in there. Let me bring in Barrister Martin, who is joining us from London. Barrister Martin, it's great to have you back on ABS, sir.
Okay, good evening, Chris, and good evening, Ivo, and good evening to the audience.
Thank you. You have listened to the argument of Ivo that he still thinks we should give credit to the ADF for picking up Madam Mundi, but then releasing them on a ransom. Does that make sense, sir?
I haven't said ransom.
No, picking Madam, sorry.
Go on, Barrister, go on.
Picking Madam Mundi, I still believe it was a good action. It caught a lot of attention on the struggle internationally, and Madam Mundi has been a key figure in the CPDM party and in that government. So she is the right person to be picked. I have no problem with the choice of the candidate who was picked. So the picking was not the issue. The issue is after picking, what next? That is where the issue is. So we should forget about why Miss Mundi. She was the right person. Such people, Mundi, Ni, John, and the rest, those are right people. So that one is not an issue. The issue is what do you do
next? So what do you make of the propaganda? I call it propaganda because we have seen the result and the promise wasn't fulfilled. The propaganda that we must get power info Ngalam for out or exchange Regina Mundi for some prisoners, our own prisoners, before they can all be released. In fact, let me tell you guys, for the first time after coming out to laud the effort of the ADF in this thing, I had a number of exchanges with Egg of Sea Chairman Cho Ayaba, and we were quite complimentary to each other, and he was glad, and he assured me that, listen, you are putting a bet on the table. I promise you, you are going to see it. And I really thought they were going to redeem their image at this time by exchanging Regina Mundi with at least one prisoner from Yaoundé. It didn't happen. What do you make of that?
Secretary Chris, La Republique at this point in time, I don't see them coming in public and actually exchanging prisoners. The essence of naming Pangalam and the rest was good for the propaganda it brought. But in terms of reality, there was no iota of chance that La Republique would have done it, at least not in public.
Yeah.
So secondly,
let me weigh in on this because I know about the inner decision that was taken. Let me just weigh in a little bit on this, Mr.
All right,
Chris,
go on.
maybe if you want me to weigh on this.
Okay.
The decision actually was made prior to 20th of May this year, when she was already in ADF camp. This was what actually happened. They wanted her to be exchanged in place of Fon Galafo and one other person, but La République du Cameroon vehemently denied. And so the ADF came up with another action to try this lady for treason, which they found guilty. And there was a deliberation as to whether to keep her for as long as possible while using her as a bargaining chip or another option, which I cannot list here. And so my whole take, I was completely bitter about this. I want all terrorists to be kept in Ambazonia for as long as Isiku, Ayokta Bay, and the rest are in their prisons. As simple as it is. If they die, they die.
You may be right. Maybe a little bit difficult to keep them for as long as the prisoners are free because, number one, it takes a lot of resources to get.
I agree. Right? And so when I talk about keeping, I think you should read behind. You should read below.
I get you. You don't need to go. You don't need to go there. All right. Let me get to Sama Thomas. Sama Thomas, if you are there, is Sama Thomas? Are you there, please? Sama Thomas is sleeping on camera. I hope somebody will get to him and get him up. The guy is sleeping deep asleep on camera. Oh, he says, oh, sorry, my internet is not just the best. Okay, please log out and log back in. Log out and log back in. So, Ivo, let me ask you this. We all agreed picking that lady was the right thing to do. But the end result does not boost our efforts in any way, by any means. How can the ADF redeem itself in the face of this? You can. I mean, I'm sure you yourself are bitter, and everybody is bitter out there. How can they redeem their image out of this?
I think first of all, it's a poor handling of communications. When you have, I've always said this. Not everyone like you, Mr. Chris, is good at communications. When you put the wrong people in the right offices, you will have bad results. And this is exactly what is happening. I mean, not everyone is good at propaganda. When you go out there spewing lies to the public that you were being chased by the Cameroon forces, you were shot at. Where is the camp, by the way, Uncle Chris, Mr. Secretary Chris? So where is the camp? All of these are fake news propaganda without any careful thought process in place. Now, this is my whole take about the situation. You've asked a good question. How can the ADF redeem itself? I am not a member of the ADF in a council, but I will say this. Yeah, you and I have agreed for once on a common platform on which we could liberate Ambazonia by arresting this terrorist you're seeing on your screen, Regina Mundi. Secondly, how can the ADF get out of this situation? Is to pick another one and teach a lesson. Mr. Chris, I keep calling you Uncle Chris. Mr. Chris, this is exactly what happened in the BLM under your command when General Professor Ivo Leket Tambo was arrested. You also let him loose. And you let him loose probably because you received money from him. ADF is doing the same thing. The two wrongs cannot make the same right.
You make a very legitimate comparison there. However, we look at the times. Ivo Tambo was at the beginning, the very first thing. That was 2017 that happened. That was a very big. I mean, you will agree. Nobody at that moment believed this struggle was going to go beyond 2017, having gone through 16, not even thinking of 18. So there was no good thought process at that moment. You agree with that. Fast forward to 5 years and counting, where our route, the roadmap is so clear, and many others have also been picked up. You would think
I don't think the roadmap is so clear.
So clear in the sense that we need nothing but a free and independent Southern Cameroon. I believe if
I agree. That is the vision. That is a tunnel vision. But
what I'm trying to say is, I believe had Ladopoplique come up in 2017 and say, hey, let's sit down and talk about federation. I think many of us at that time, including you, who was leaving the consortium at some point, would have said, okay, let's sit down and hear what they propose. Correct. But that did not happen. Now, speed forward to 2022. We have picked up 6 delegates in India. Where have they been released? No. The chiefs, the funds, have they been released up to today? No. Why is it different for the ADF?
I completely agree with you. I am on the same boat with you. I'm in the same boat with you when it comes to how we are handling these prisoners of war, these terrorists. I would call them terrorists because they've aided and abetted crimes in Amazonia. So when we pick up this kind of people, by the way, behind this lady you see a Amazonia flag and the ADF. If ADF was a La Republic, you should be seeing La Republic flags. That was an
they say it is cheap to hang a flag, right?
Well, it's cheap to hang a flag, but it's an honor to have a flag.
That's what we call make believe. Make believe.
Correct, but it's an honor to have a flag. We've seen people
Ivo,
honoring
hold
their
on.
flags. So too is the ADF honoring its flag. Let's not go along party lines here because we have one ludicrous.
It's not about party line. Hold on. Let me go back to Barrister Martin. I thought Sama Toma was reconnected. He is not yet. I'm waiting for him. Barrister Martin, I asked the question, how does the ADF redeem its image? This was such an opportunity for it to do so. How do you think they redeem their image?
Ivo said that they should pick more people and then handle them properly so that they wouldn't forget whatever mistakes they did in this one. But what to be honest, Chris, ADF was in its back was getting on the wall. They had this woman with them, so they had tried the woman, or so they claim, and sentenced her to death. It was either you execute that judgment, or you come forever, or you free the woman, or something, or you take the money. From all indication, it seems as if they took money. Success Nkongo, who happens to be very connected with the Secret Service in Cameroon, has confirmed that the family of the woman paid 48 million, while Cameroon military contributed or brought 35 million.
I think success is not a good source to quote on it anyway.
No, I'm just quoting him because he is for bad news come their side. He is very good source because he's one of them. Anything against us, he comes to it. Anyway, that is his source, but it doesn't really matter.
Ivo, hold on, let Barrister Martin finish his thought.
Him as a source. I'm not saying he is the authoritative source. He is saying the figures. That's why I'm just quoting. But the issue is, I don't think ADF is interested in convincing Zonians that they didn't take money. My position is that ADF took money. ADF doesn't want the international community to consider them as people who arrest or kidnap people and take money. So they say that the woman was rescued. La Republic does not want its citizens to see them as stooping low as paying ADF the money. So they would rather to project that they rescued the woman. So we have two willing parties: a payer who does not want to say I paid, and a receiver who does not want to say I received. So both of them are there. So that is the situation we had. And ADF is protecting itself against the international community. They don't want to be seen as kidnappers. So they arrange all these things. I'm even sure what the army is reading is a script that both ADF and the army agreed on the version they will put. So I don't see it's a problem. ADF is not interested in convincing me and you for what? Do they care?
Comrade Martin, Comrade Martin,
yes?
If you make that point, what then do you make for the case of the Indian 6? I mean,
the Indian 6 guy is not looking for money.
Hold on a second. This is the point. The ADF had only one important detainee in their keeping. In Indian, you had 6. They call them provincial delegates. 6 of them. They are still keeping them, but the ADF has rushed and offered the order. I mean, if you are justifying their effort, how do you then put that side by side with Indian's case?
I can put it side by side. Is if you ask for money, maybe for the Indian people you will not raise 5 million. For Mundi, you raise 80-something million. As the figure was going higher and higher, it was getting tempting. It reached a point when you have to do cost-benefit analysis. What do we gain in really killing this? What do we gain in keeping her compared to what we could do with this money? They must have had their caucus meetings and the rest and realize, yes, they will damage if we take the money. But the benefit for taking that money outweighs the damage. Damage might be the talk for 1 week, 2 weeks, the forget. But we can get that money for months and months.
Can I just
let Ivo jump in there.
Let me weigh in a little bit because there's so much being spoken about money. Let's put the facts clear. I, Tapang Ivo Tanku, I do support the fact that you should, and every Ambazonian in Ambazonia should arrest for money considered as bail or bonds for those terrorists who have been kidnapped or those terrorists who have been arrested. The word kidnap is completely out of our dictionary because we've declared our country. Sisiku Ayok Tabe declared it a country, our independence. Gojidinka had declared it. The Ayabas have declared it. All those top leaders had all declared it, and the people of Ambazonia had declared it. So why don't we have the right to ask for money as bonds, as bail, when terrorists are seeking for pardon? Does it make any difference? Cameroon will not release. Let me finish. Cameroon will not release any prisoner in their keeping if you don't pay the bond or the bail. Why is the territory of Ambazonia different in every shape and form?
You are
and
very
yet they're claiming that you have a president called Marianata or whatever she calls herself.
No, listen. You got to display some dignity here, the way you address people. Marianta is the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia's interim government.
No. She's not a president of any Federal Republic.
Not the respect she deserves.
Not the country I represent. There is no president in Ambazonia.
All right. If you do not want to demonstrate some dignity, even if she is not, you still need to. She still deserves that respect as a frontline leader.
Yes, she's an
in this
Ambazonian,
struggle.
not the president. Who voted her?
That is not a subject for debate here, please.
Where is her presidency?
Sorry?
Where is her presidency?
Her presidency is in Boya. But we don't need to debate her here. You don't come here to ask a question. I ask the question because I pay for the microphone. So let's move on. Listen, we are agreed on the money aspect of it. I see no problem wrong with that. That is why I come here all the time and I say, hey, yes, when the CDC people came, I agreed to the money. It is not lot of public's money. It is our parents' money, our taxpayers' money, and no matter the amount, we will take it. The problem is when...
Good say, Mr. Chris.
The problem is when you pick up somebody and go out and say, we will keep her until
I agree.
we get somebody in exchange. That did not happen. Now, the second problem, they come out and say, there was a serious battle. I think you listened to Yaba in an audio this morning. He said, I sat and I listened to the serious battle that was going on. It's been 2 days or 3 days today. No testimony from anywhere in Batabo. All I shown to say, we heard shootings, we heard, we saw corpses, we saw a mass grave, we saw nothing. But they keep on going out telling the people there was some serious fighting in which we lost 80 million. Come on, that is a problem.
Mr. Chris, let me just weigh in a little bit. 80 million is even too small. Left to me, if I'm the head of the ADF, let's not even keep calling Ayaba because Ayaba is nowhere closer to the ADF. It's Benedict Kwa. So we are kind of running him down on an organization he doesn't belong to.
Who do you say is running the ADF, Benedict Wu?
I am speaking because I was the deputy chairman of the ADF for the Atlantic. And so I know the inner circles of the ADF.
So are you saying we are blaming the wrong person? He is a leader, though.
Here. Yeah, let me just have some clarity. Ayaba does not sit even in the war council when decisions are being made. But his name is so easy to be called when it comes to things like this. The person we should be calling is Benedict Kwa and not even Ayaba. Ayaba is only a policy maker for the AGOF-C. That is nowhere closer. These are all distinct bodies. I speak as someone who was the deputy chair of the ADF. This man is completely innocent. Let's call and let's put the image of Benedict Kwa, who is the one who gives the orders and who is the one who has to speak, or his spokesperson. So I want to just highlight something. 80 million, Uncle Chris, or I still call you Uncle Chris. In private life, I call you Uncle Chris. 80 million is even too small because Cameroon generates about 2 billion CFA daily from its proceeds in Ambazonia. Unbelievable. That means every day Cameroon, by economic standards, according to the IMF, World Bank, and other financial reports, including the Carrefour Policy Institute, Cameroon generates 2 billion francs CFA from the people of Ambazonia till today. So 80 million is only a paltry sum. I cannot hear you.
Can you? How you can hear me?
How can they generate 2 million a day when the GDP of Cameroon is
2 billion,
less than 50 billion?
Billion, not million.
How can they, I'm saying, how can they generate 2 billion a day when the GDP of Cameroon is less than 50 billion?
You know, Cameroon is ranked among the most corrupt countries in the world. Cameroon topped the rank in 1999 and 2001 as the most corrupt country according to Transparency International.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but GDP has nothing to do with corruption. Cameroon cannot generate 2 billion a day in Amazonia with an annual GDP of less than.
Look at the real growth GDP. The real growth GDP of Cameroon has sunk. Right now, we're talking about 2.7%. In 2016, it was 5.7%. But right now, the GDP, the real growth GDP, according to the World Bank, is dancing in the 2%. That is horrible for a country.
I agree with you. I'm saying that Cameroon cannot generate 2 billion per day in Ambazonia. Even the whole of Cameroon does not generate 2 billion a day. Unless you are talking 2 billion CFA. I'm talking about $2 billion.
Where is the oil?
Sorry.
Where is
are
the
we talking
oil found?
CFA?
Cameroon's biggest.
How much oil? We are producing maybe 65,000 barrels per day. Ivo, we are producing around 65 to 70,000 barrels per day. How much is that? One small well in Nigeria produces 200,000 barrels. Let's be fair now.
No,
I mean, we are combating La Republic, but
that is only
because that our audience will make
What
sense
about
to
all
our
the
audience.
CDC? We have a couple of plantations. We have that's it, man. That's
all right.
richest
All
part
right.
of I mean,
Yeah, but not 2 billion CFA per day.
maybe
not $2 billion per day.
To talk about this relevant issue.
All right.
Okay,
listen,
no problem. Another day.
Yes. Listen, Ivo, again, we have no problems with how much the ADF collected. I don't care if they collected 1 billion. I don't care if they collected 1 billion and that 1 billion is deployed back into the struggle. The problem is, even if the ADF collects 10 billion, there are no battle fees of theirs that we have seen over the past 5 years and counting. I mean, if you can prove me wrong, I will be ready to listen. But that is a problem. We will all take that money, reinvest it into the struggle. But they are not doing so, which is why Ambazonians are very mad. Very, very mad. None of us, I don't think anybody here was saying kill Regina Mundi, apart from maybe Samar Thomas, who was all right about it, and maybe except you, Tasangur, one her go. But none of us here was saying kill her. But if they couldn't take the 10 billion and reinvest, buy true arms, put in the arms of people who are fighting, actually fighting, that would be a big difference. But unfortunately, that money has just been shared. I believe is in all different accounts right now, isn't it?
And they don't have accounts, by the way. Those on ground zero, if they collect that money, they would be
They
going to
use
Nigeria
Bitcoin,
to buy bonds.
Ivo. You are a smart person. You know Bitcoins. You don't need to have an account. You just need to have La Republic. Send
Those
that
on ground
money
zero, I
into
don't think they
Bitcoin
even have
account.
cell phones to be running on Bitcoins.
What is that?
Those on ground zero, they don't have any accounts. I don't think it will be ludicrous for any fighter on ground zero to have accounts. If they collect that money, they should be going to Nigeria to buy more guns.
Well, let's wait to see they buy more guns and let's see actually what they do with more guns. Now, let's move to one more point before I open the phone lines for a few phone calls before you go, since you have some time here. Right now, the ADF and of course, you said you are no longer to set the record straight. You say you are no longer an executive in the ADF. But tell us, for 5 years, the ADF cannot prove to Amazonians where they have been fighting. The ADF has killed our own fighters. Batibo is there, and many other places that you know, Guzang and so on. There is a problem. We have been looking forward, and Iya Marenta, for example, she has a policy in this government of stretching her hands to every other leader. But the Amazonian people out there say, stretch your hands to everybody but Cho Ayaba. And we thought we had an opportunity in the arrest of this lady to give him a chance. It hasn't happened. If you were in the position of Iya Marienta, the leader of the interim government, how do you stretch your hands to fellowship with somebody who cannot prove he is fighting La République du Cameroon?
I think that's a very good question. I will start off by I do respect all the creation of all the NGOs, including the interim government NGO. I do respect that creation and its leadership, including Marietta of the NGO called the interim government. Likewise, I also do respect the leadership of Dr. Ayaba Cho and his decades of experience, which Marietta is nowhere closer. I don't think Marietta has a resume for even 2 months of liberation. It makes her completely a scum in this revolution. If you want to put it that way. If she wants to stretch her hand, let me just go on.
No, hold on there. I will give you the chance to respond. Listen, when I invite you to the show, I expect you to come here and behave yourself with some as a man who has some dignity. You can differ with her, but you have no reason to call her a scam. You have none. And please, respect yourself. Show yourself in the eyes of the people here. There are over 1,100 people watching this show on Facebook alone. Come across as a person with dignity. You cannot prove that she has scammed anyone. So please avoid that. Thank you. Go on.
I can go on with proofs, but that will be another debate for another day. I can go on with proofs, but that will be another debate for another day. I do accept the collaboration of all people or all leaders in Ambazonia. We started off with the consortium, and it was kind of an inclusive body for everyone before we digress into the politics that has now divided the revolution, including Mr. Chris Arnold deferring and calling others a scam, like Dr. Cho Ayaba Lucas, which I do disagree. So you should be able to accept others calling your own so-called president a scam.
We have, when we call people scammers, myself in particular, I mean it. When somebody
I also mean it.
Okay, hold on. And when I say I mean it, I can prove it with facts. When somebody says, Ngala for Ngala or debt penalty, and goes ahead to collect money, what do you call that? Is that not a scam? That's exactly what we're talking about. When somebody says he's fighting La République du Cameroon, when somebody says he is fighting La République du Cameroon, when somebody says he's fighting La République du Cameroon and he's running around in trucks as a restoration army or a revolution army, who else is running around in trucks? When you kill your own fighters and not a single fighter from La République du Cameroon, who are you fooling? That is what we mean by scamming. All right, go on.
Now, Mr. Chris, when people throw allegations, oh, this one killed this fighter, ADF killed in Batibo, this one killed in this, I mean, over time, the truth has exposed itself. We've seen forces, including those of General Ayeke, of blessed memory. We've seen forces, including those of the British Southern Cameroon's Restoration Forces under General Arike. We've seen forces, including those of General No Pity, all confessing to the fact that he or they have a death penalty on their heads at the time when Secretary Chris Ano was at the helm of the IG under Sako Ikome. I mean, these are all proven facts from those on the ground, and these soldiers are still alive today, with the exception of General.
Can you take that again?
Ayeki.
That Chris Ano put a death warrant on their heads?
Of course, we've seen all of those images. We've seen them testify from the ground, not the propaganda we sit here making. Those from the ground have
Chris
put on
Ano the
videos.
defense secretary of the
General
interim
No
government, or
Pity,
what?
General No Pity has stated that on video that you wanted to kill him.
It will surprise
This other guy, Arike.
It will
Arike was in
surprise you,
chains by the
Tapang
time he
Ivo,
went
and
to
that
the
is
bed.
the problem, that you come on TV, you don't have your fact. It will surprise you. I speak with No Pity almost on a daily basis, and it will surprise you even before coming live. I was with him. I can show you the communication if you want to. So please, when we come on this television set, we're not come here to run some propaganda. We're coming here to try to give Ambazonian facts. That is why I have been here for so long.
Let's not even go there. Let's not even talk about those. Let's not talk about things that will divide
because I try
us
as
on
much
party
as
lines.
possible to bring them facts. All right, please, let's get to Barrister Martin. Barrister Martin, please take us back to how this makes communication, collaboration, difficult among the leaders of this movement, the liberation movement.
Yeah, Chris, communication and cooperation, or whatever we call it, it is built on trust. There's so much distrust between the parties, and a lot of people say things that they don't stand. Somebody will tell you A, when you check tomorrow, it is B. So it's very difficult, but it doesn't mean we should abandon ship. We should always try to keep some courage, to try to still stretch that hand. That hand should keep being stretched, not withdrawn. Because even if we are not close, at least we should have a working relationship sometimes. We might need it. What they are doing there as we unity warriors, it might not be perfect, but it is like a starting point. I don't think it's perfect, but it is a first step towards the right direction. That's what I think. It has its problems though, but yes, at least something is being done on the practical level on the ground. They should look at it, let them be some kind of understanding on the ground, then the politicians might piggyback on it.
Okay. Barrister Martin, you look at this image of Cardinal Toomey right there on the screen. That was Cardinal Toomey in captivity. He was released along with the fund of Insor, whom you also find there in the screen. They did not pay a dime for a ransom. And of course, no prisoner exchange was carried out. But at least they got their freedom, they went out, they were freed. Now, compare this case to that of Regina Mundi, whom all of us know to be a kingpin in the CPDM regime. She is not freed. Money is taken from her, and the problem also there is, at the end of the day, we do not see that money buying arms to fight the Republic du Cameroon. Can you compare these two situations and let's see what difference they are?
No, these other people, we don't have a record of them arresting people, if we don't want to call kidnap, and asking for money. But ADF, we have that record. The Kamwata guy was arrested. They were asking for money, that you pay 10 million before we release you. I think they've been after the Tasang families for them to pay some money. They've been arresting some people, call it liberation tax or whatever. So different groups have different modus operandi. ADF has this policy of liberation tax. They arrest you, you pay it, which somebody might say is ransom, somebody might say it's a fine, call it whatever you may. But that is the situation. How they use the money after that, I don't know. It's an internal party or internal group thing. whether they share it or they buy arms.
Sorry, maybe Ivo will help us. Will help tell us how they use the money. He has been there.
That's so funny. Well, I would say no. I mean, when you talk about using the money, is that what you're talking about? My senior comrade, Barrister Thomason. Hello.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, he's asking me how they use the money. I said, I cannot tell how they use the money. They've been showing some arms. They've been showing some arms. Therefore, they use the money to buy the arms. So some people say those arms are given by La Republique. I cannot comment on those things. I have no facts on them. But I've seen some arms in there.
I've been an insider. I wanted him to tell us how they use the money. I actually saw Capo Daniel in the restaurant celebrating and telling us how here is the money. Here is the money he's using.
For all the organizations I've been part of, I would say from the consortium, right up to Consortium Without Guns anyway, right up to now, the ADF until recently, the most transparent organization I've seen using its money is the ADF. Not propaganda, but a fact. And I'll state this clearly. I've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the ADF. And believe me, it is even more expensive to buy guns than to raise money for the guns. ADF is the most equipped force on the ground. The most
listen, we're not even going to go into that because there will be no end into it. So forget about the largest or well equipped or whatever. I think Ambazonians want to see where they are fighting, not what they have.
Where they're fighting, you see General No PT is now collaborating with the ADF. That is where they're fighting.
That is propaganda. I can tell you that is not the case. That is propaganda. But I'm joined by Prince J.K. coming in the place of Sama Thomas. Prince J.K., I believe you have been following this discussion here. What do you want to add into it, please?
Greetings, Ambazonians, and greetings, Secretary Chris, greetings, Tapang Ivo, and greetings, Barrister Tumesang Martin. First of all, I want to say I would like to do some points of correction. Yeah, I've been following this show before joining, and I want to first correct Tapang on what he said, that Marianta is not the president and he doesn't recognize Marianta. And for him to know that we recognize him, Tapang, as the consortium president when he was not elected. So we might disagree, but we have to agree. Yeah, so if he says he's not recognizing Marianta as a president, then definitely we will not recognize him as consortium because we served under him as activists then. So I want to do that one point of correction.
JK, I appreciate that, but we don't want to drag into that argument because it's not even debatable here.
Point of correction before I give my contribution.
Yes, go on, please.
It's not, yeah. Then, and number two, in regards to ADF and the release of Regina Mundi, there is no what can I say? There is no acclamation, so accolades we can give to ADF. There is no point of debate. No, there is not. It's not a high bid or a low bid, as Barrister Tumesang was saying in the case of a 10 Kobo, that maybe those ones are delegates and their bids are not high, and these ones are is a senator. No. When you are in war, every bid matters. It doesn't depend on how big the bid is. And once you have given a tag price to that bid, and you're owing your allegiance to the people which you claim you defend, then you have to defend your word. For the fact that ADF did not defend their word in regards to exchanging Regina Mundi for a path for Ngalafo, that means they failed. That means they're not with us. That's simple. We should not brand the story. We should not mix the story to favor or no. There's no accolades we have to give there. Let's be truthful.
Very fair point.
I want us to be truthful to that.
Very fair point.
Because if we continue like this, if we go on like this, then we are not putting Ambazonian first. Like Tapang said, yes, many youths have been killed. Let's look on the youths. If Tapang is very right, the age of the old people don't die. It is the youths which are being killed. Then if you see the age of Regina Mundi compared to the age of Ayeke, compared to the age of General Ivo, compared to the age of the others who are dying. What service does that woman, that terrorist woman, have to do with the young generation? So the things we as young people, we have to face the fact here.
And you see, J.K., which is true. I agree. J.K., if you see what is happening right now, this is a very fair point from J.K. Look at what is happening. I've just looked at the social media wave. Everyone is giving respect. Oh, we will release that mommy, na grandmammy. What about the youth? You don't respect youths? You're giving respect to some old politician who has failed in a political career and banking on corruption to still be a senator, and then the youth are giving up their lives for a country that the old people like Regina Mundi could not fight for, but when we're working for La Republique, it doesn't make any sense. So screw you with your so-called respect for the elderly. Sorry to put it that way in a harsh way, but screw you with that. If the elderly does not work in favor of the youths fighting for Ambazonia's liberation, I don't owe you any dime of respect. Go on, J.K.
That means you are right now. That means we say ADF is not for us. No matter how we mix it, no matter what, ADF is not for us. They are like
no, for that particular point, you cannot generalize. Let's not generalize on that simple mistake.
Generalize. Because
why? That's a little mistake. That's just one thing. That's I would say it's a communication gap.
Tapang, you are landed. Logically, they say in logic, they say if you do something once, let me say if A is this, B is this, therefore this, you give a conclusion.
You have to prove it empirically. You have to prove it empirically.
If ADF has not been showing Ambazonian the love they need, and now ADF arrests somebody which Ambazonians were hoping and thinking that with this arrest they can clear their image, and they don't do, then therefore ADF is not for the people. Simple logic.
That is an assumption. It's not an empirical fact. That's an assumption.
How would you say it's an assumption?
Tapang, I don't
correlation does not mean causation. Correlation does not mean causation.
No.
Correlation correlation does not mean causation. Because something always caused this to happen, you have to prove it empirically.
But Tapang, you just said here before I was joining that they released the woman, maybe the money is used to buy weapons. But me and you can testify that since the late General Ivo died, how many battles have ADF fought? Let's be real.
How many battles have ADF fought? ADF has been defending the entire Ambazonia, having the largest contender forces, defending the people of Ambazonia. It's not a battle. We are not fighting battles, we are fighting a war.
All right, Tapang, Ivo, you know that people really believe what you say, so not a problem there. Please, you guys do me a favor. The time is fast spent. Let me open the phone lines. Let's take a few phone calls before we call it a night. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now open the phone lines for you to come in, chip in your idea to the discussion on the table. The phone line for those of you who are used to the show is, let's see, oh, they are calling already. Okay, the phone line is right there. Let's get to the first caller here. We can only accept phone calls on one line, not two lines. We can only accept phone calls from one line, please. All right. Hello. 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 All right. If you call, you have to pick the phone when you are. Let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, sir. Good. You're calling from Maryland, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm calling from Maryland. Sebastian Barrico, I want to appreciate Tapang for coming to talk to share his opinion in ABS, and our able barrister and Prince J. that just joined. Well, on the point of the release of the lady, let us just hope that there is something more cooking in the background that ADF don't want to bring to us now. Again, if they have taken money, well, let us just hope that that money is going to be used in probably getting arms to fight the revolution. I think we should be somehow optimistic at this point.
No, you cannot.
We should not just be pessimistic
come
and say,
on, hold on there. How can you be optimistic? 5 years and counting. They haven't bought anything. Oh, sorry, they have the arms. There's no doubt about that. They have it. But who have they fought with it?
Well, Secretary Chris, we are just saying let us hope that, because I also believe that it is not everything that ADF will come out there and tell Ambazonians that, oh, we've taken this money, we are going to use it for arms, or let us just hope let us be somehow optimistic that they will do something better. And if they went into any deal with La Republique, and if La Republique doesn't respect the terms of the deal, they will certainly go back to the field to act. That La Republique know that Ambazonians are capable. We will probably ADF will not only go for Madame Mundi, they will go again. Now they may decide to go for more people.
You think Mundi will be sitting there waiting for them to come back?
The governor is there. You see, he is there like he's growing in Banda. You know the Banda. He is going to be vulnerable. So I think ADF should prove us again this time around that they are in for Ambazonia. Again, I want to appreciate Tapang and Tapang. You want to come to ABS all the time to come and make your views heard. I know you said I stole money and Sako bought a 600,000 house, the house you slept in. No problem. Welcome to ABS.
No. I did not say that about you. Your money is genuine. I did not say that about you.
All right, thank you. I can assure you that if it has not already happened, Regina Mundi is now a neighbor of John Frundi in Yaoundé somewhere.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get to the next caller here. Hello.
Hey, Secretary Chris. Yeah, Secretary Chris.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question to Tapang.
This is the Honorable Mike Fusi. Am I correct?
You're correct.
All right, you got a question for Tapang? Go on, sir.
Yes, I would like to ask Tapang. I know that he's always been very controversial, and his statements out here today are not surprising to me. As a matter of fact, I was surprised to see him on the show. So my question to him is this. Tapang, do you remember calling for the assassination of Field Marshal the King? And you called for his head, that he should be killed? I ask this particularly because we know that the ADF has done absolutely nothing. If anything, the ADF has done more against our people than against La Republique. So when you go out there and you profess to be fighting for the liberation of the southern Cameroon, Sambazonia, and you call for the assassination of someone who has demonstrated in every way possible his willingness to put his life on the line for the liberation of our country, Ambazonia, someone like Field Marshal the King, he has demonstrated for years and is still demonstrating to today. What can you still defend that statement you made that Field Marshal the King should be killed, especially compared to the abysmal performance of the ADF?
All right, thank you, sir. I will give Tapang a minute to answer the question. Thank you. Tapang, go on, please.
Thanks for that caller. Hello? Can you hear me?
Go on.
All right, thanks for that caller. I will just start off by his first part of the question about the controversy issue. I think I'm not controversial, but I think I'm broadcasting to people who have controversial brains. Some people do have controversial brains, so it's difficult for them to decode what Tapang always says. And I understand because we're in a revolution where people are of different categories and their reasoning types. So it's not surprising if someone with a controversial brain comes up to say, hey, Ivo, I don't understand your message. You're sounding more controversial. It's normal. The second part of the question, it comes to Field Marshal. I raised that statement because Christopher Anu, who sits here, was advocating for the killing of other Ambazonia generals fighting still for the same cause. So what is good for the goose is as well good for the gander. Unless Mr. Christopher Anu has backed down, which I think he has, maybe he has realized some of those mistakes. Likewise, have also backed down, but we are moving towards the same path in a revolution.
Wonderful. Tapang,
but why don't we say Secretary Chris?
JK, hold on there.
He was a secretary under Sako, but I think he has fired Sako, so so maybe he has a new title. He was a secretary under Sako, but
hold on, Tapang. Let me add to the question of the caller out there. There was a moment you went around raising funds and displaying some military boots on the internet and telling people you are the one sponsoring Field Marshal and the Red Dragons.
Not Field Marshal, please. Not Field Marshal, the Red Dragons, yes.
The Red Dragons, right. No, yes. But you mentioned Field Marshal, we know that.
No, I don't even know him.
Okay, I've never crossed paths with him. The people out there watching you know exactly what you said. Who was your contact in the Red Dragons? Did you know?
I cannot reveal my contacts to you. You and I know that we come from we share the same village boundaries.
Correct.
We're all from Libya 11. We have our fighters.
Field Marshal is my own brother, and if you were supplying anything
if you
to
have
the Red
video,
Dragons,
can you pull it up so that we should speak with facts?
know. You know that
so
if
pull
you
up the video because
anything,
all my words are only
know.
stated and
The
my videos are available. Can you pull up the
problem is that you are one of those who have collected money in the course of this struggle. Put it in your pocket, and it did not go into their hands. It did not get to the destination.
All the times from the
Theodore Ngomba. Hold on, I muted you. Hold on, let me finish the statement. I muted you. I will open the mic for you to speak, to respond. Theodore Ngomba once took you to court here in Houston. I don't know what I went to court to do that day. I met you there. I testified in your favor. It had to do with money you put in your pocket. How can you stay running around and saying all these things and not looking at the things you have done to mess up this struggle?
Secretary Chris, I would like to drop a point there on this issue.
So I respond.
Go ahead.
Okay, if I'm unmuted, let me respond.
You are unmuted. Go on.
I hear someone talking in the background. So
hold on, Prince Jacob. Hold on.
Yeah, so let me respond to this. The first part of it, you're talking about money. The best time and the best part of the entire Ambazonia revolution has been under my reign. I care less about whoever is in power right now.
But did you collect money? Did you collect money from Ambazonians in the pretense of buying arms or boots and supplying to the Red Dragons? And if so, who was your contact there at the Red Dragons? And the money that Theodore Ngomba was suing you here
my
in
contacts
Houston.
at the Red Dragons were my village people in Lebialem, where I share a boundary
was
with you.
Your contact?
I cannot reveal. You want to kill them as you've killed others?
All right, thank you. Please, let's take the next caller. I know that it's a little embarrassing, but let's move on. Let's move on. Let's get to the next caller here.
Please, before you take the next caller, let me add something, please.
Hold on, Prince Jacob. Let me get the next caller. You will answer from there. Hello.
Yes, greetings, Secretary Chris. Greetings, Tapang. Greetings, Prince Jacob, and greetings to my brother, Pastor Tumasang Martin. My question goes to Tapang Ivo. Brother Tapang, I want to thank you, for all that you did in the early days to take this liberation struggle to the next level, where it was able to come to the diaspora. It galvanized us. We have now organized ourselves. We're contributing, and we're trying to fight to secure our freedom and our liberty in our various movements. As you are very aware, you in particular and several others, even Secretary Chris and many other people have made incendiary comments against each other, which is making it difficult for us to work together. We've heard the recommendations that have come from the Honorable Tibo Naj, who is encouraging Ambazonians to come together in a coalition kind of set up so that we can speak with one voice in our outings when we're meeting the diplomatic corps, even though when we're in ground zero, we can be fighting from the left, the right, and center, punching our public using our different movements. What advice, the question I have for you is, what advice can you give to your own organization and other organizations as confidence building measures that they can perform so that the temperature can be reduced from all the incendiary things we have said to each other so that we can get to the point where we can form this coalition
Secretary Chris has done a great job in opening up ABS to allow people to come so we can all talk to each other and hear what each other's side is doing and how each other's side is thinking. So I think the communication is the first step. But what would you recommend to everybody else, your movement in particular, the ADF AGOC, Ayuktabe, Iya Marianta team, Sokadef, all the other myriad of groups that we can do to as confidence building measures so we can eventually get to the coalition that we need to get us to ground zero and liberate our homeland. Thank you.
Thank you. Tapang, please, briefly, so we can get other callers.
And the way forward. I believe in literally everybody. I've always stood for one thing from the start of the Ambazonia revolution till present. No government today, come tomorrow. Liberation now, government tomorrow. That is where the Ambazonia revolution has a problem.
That is not the question, Tapang. That wasn't the question. The question was, how would you advise your own group to come together, do some confidence building towards
certainly I'm trying to answer the question. So what I'm saying is, it takes two to tango, Secretary Chris. I would say Uncle Chris, not Secretary, because that was the former SACO. So it takes two to tango. I know the ADF in and out. The ADF would hardly participate with politicians in a revolution. I'm dead honest. And I believe at this stage of the revolution, we don't need politicians. We don't need governments. We don't need that. We have to liberate the people who are dying first.
We will elect them. What will be
the advice I will give them? The advice I will give, and I've given the ADF, including Ayaba, including Dr. Ayaba. I've spoken with him. He is ready and willing to work with everyone, and Tapang Ivo is willing to sacrifice his life for this to happen.
What did you tell him? What was your suggestion?
I told him that let's
that the last
collaborate.
caller is referring to.
Yeah, I told him that let's collaborate with all other groups, and I'm the one who formed the contender force. Remember, I'm the one who formed it on the ground, the contender force. So I told him in the diaspora, let's meet up with Chris Anu and the rest and form a large coalition to liberate homeland. And he said he's okay for that. But there are politicians in the revolution.
And he's not a
so
politician.
Are they willing to relinquish that political quest for pseudo power?
You mean to relinquish power so that if there has to be any leader, it has to be Ayaba?
It must not be Ayaba. Ayaba is not willing to take it. And I don't know if someone has ever spoken here. Let me just speak it out clear. Ayaba told me, Dr. Ayaba told me, he is not even willing to be the leader of any coalition force.
How about the leader?
That is what he said.
How about the leader of AGOC?
So this smear campaign should end. I'm speaking here, and
I know the leader of AGOC?
Come again, please.
How about being the leader of AGOC?
The AGOC is an organization, so you can keep your organization. I don't really care about whether you're part of the IG or some whatever group you want to create. I don't really care about that.
But AGOC, that's a political organization, isn't it?
Groups.
The AGOC, that's a political organization, isn't it?
The organization we're going to form is bigger than AGOC and the IGs and all of those things.
Hold the line, please. All right, let's leave it there. Prince Jacob, please, I give you 50 seconds so we can get more callers at this moment. Go on, please.
Secretary Chris, really I wanted to say Tapang is a very, very good propagandist. If that's his job he did since when he felt humiliated after being the consortium. He's laughing, but he knows he's a very good communicator, and he did a very good job as a consortium leader there. And when I see you spending more time to hit him with questions, Tapang know what he's doing here. Tapang is a very, very intelligent Southern Cameroonian youth, and he did a good job at his time. But if you don't know the role he has to play in this revolution, then you get him confused. That's why ADM brought him into the game. When Bala and Pata sang, they made him feel humiliated after chasing him and Mark Barata away as a consortium leader. So I want to say this year, but this year, now at this time, we're talking about the Ambazonia revolution and those dying on the ground. But whatever we do here, let us know that tomorrow we will testify. So whatever you see Tapang is doing here, is just struggling to redeem his own self and play us along with the game. Me, I know that very, very well. What ADF has done and whatever we're talking about, unity or whatever, Ayabacho will accept those conceptions because they don't buy to his way. They don't buy to his ideology. They don't buy to his concept and that of A of C. That's the simple thing. They want everything to be dissolved and then it goes their way. Yeah, they are those kind of selfish and greedy people which if things doesn't go their way, better we destroy it. And it's those head that made A of C parted ways with the SCYL of Dr. Ebenezer Akwanga, even him and Ebenezer Akwanga also splitting from NCNC. So the division line has been something that has been trending. The division line started from NCNC, then Ayaba and Akwanga could not be together. So don't expect people who have been bent on division to form unity. No, people who have been bent on division are based on their interest. And people of personal interest can never form a unifying factor, which we find in the consortium. And Tapang's anger, me, I know he will not say it. I know we are youth. When you are humiliated to a certain level, you become a propagandist. So let's focus, please.
All right. Thank you. Let's get to the calls. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. I know you are calling from Ground Zero. Where on Ground Zero, sir?
Yeah, from Bamenda.
Okay, quickly, so we can get a few other calls before we go.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Greetings to the panel. Firstly, I want to say that I want to inform. Let me inform Tapang Ivo that it is very, very unacceptable for him to come on the platform there and show so much respect to the legitimate president of Amazonia, Iya Marianta. Tapang, you had your era. You were president of the consortium. People respected you. They regard you as that. Your era is gone. So you must respect the duly considered leadership of Amazonia today. Iya Marianta, she holds more than 95% of Amazonians are following her. So there's nothing anyone can do about that. She's the president of Amazonia. Secondly, we have passed on the area of arguing about the ADF. They have proved all time and time without number that they are not for Amazonia. They are not the revolution. I am on Ground Zero. The kidnappings they do here, the atrocities they do here, but there is no day you will see where the ADF has actually stood against those terrorist military, the way the restoration fighters are doing. So we have passed the era of arguing about the loyalty of the ADF to this revolution. And then tell the Secretary Chris, I want to inform the leadership that Brazzaville's vehicles are going about in Bamenda doing business as if there is no problem. Brazzaville's vehicles. Today, I stood somewhere in Bamenda today and I saw 3 Brazzaville trucks transporting drinks to go and sell as if there is no problem. So this revolution is suffering in many, many ways. And this is a very prominent one. At this point in time, it is very unfortunate. Something has to be done. I have suggested that restoration fighters should be instituted in Bamenda. We have ADF in Bamenda, no restoration fighters. That's why you're having these lapses. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We will just move on to the next caller. No comment there. I think that was more of a comment. Let's get to many calls.
Can I say something maybe to that last call?
387 calls have come in within this short.
I can say something to that last call, Brother Race.
About 3 or 4. Hello.
Hello. Yes. Good day. I want to react with respect to the release of Regina Mundi.
Go on, sir. Go on quickly. 50 seconds.
Yes. From all indication, we are seeing from the ground that the Tapangs and the Ayabachos, they have embezzled an amount of money from this game. It's a whole game because what they were saying and people were believing them that there will be some prisoner exchange. It didn't work. So they are doing what they are doing, we already know. And what I want to say again, this animosity that is existing between you people there is affecting us in the ground. And you people should seek for possibilities to see that you people unite. I know Ayabacho is not willing and Secretary Chris also is not willing. We know Secretary Chris is a veteran in the struggle. And we know we have to give them the place, certainly. Because we know from the onset, Ayabacho, they have not been doing a good job. Behind here, they have been conniving and knocking the heads of one fighter and the other. So we need to see how we can push this struggle to a greater height.
All right.
Because if there's no unity, no way forward.
Thank you.
Please, we are suffering, and you people know this. You people are not doing a good job there. You people are just there knocking your heads there. What you are doing over the screen there, you are just making a fool out of yourself. You are just disgracing the whole struggle. You are putting us in a perpetual mode of confusion.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. Let's get to the next caller here. Let's get to the next caller. Okay, where is it? All right. Hello.
Secretary Chris.
Hello, ma'am. This is Ma Franca. Am I correct?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful. You got through today. All right. What is the question?
Oh, my God. I've been trying to reach you forever.
Well,
yes,
you got through
today. Thank you very much for this show. Yeah, and thank you for accepting my call. I have a few things to make. First, I would like to advise Dr. Ayabacho to kindly share the money that he received with his fighters or his boys in Mezam. Because he's receiving all this big money, but his boys are in Mezam, especially harassing, kidnapping, and torturing poor civilians. As I speak to you, just this week alone, we counted about 5 kidnappings in Bamenda, including picking up kids from school, kidnapping couples from their houses, taking them to hideouts in Bafut bushes. And I would just like, if Ayabacho is taking all this big money, can he kindly share the money with his boys in Mezam so that people can live in peace? That's my first point.
Okay, hold on there, hold the line. Let me see if Tasan can attempt an answer, though he is an outsider now in the ADF. But Tasan, she makes a very good point. I think last week I received a call where 3 people from one family were picked up by the ADF. The first one, I think they were demanding for, was it 3 million or?
They started with 25 million, and then in the end, after keeping them for 1 month, the family was able to raise 2.7 million. And
is
then
that for one person? For one person or for the 3 persons?
Well, let me explain it, Secretary Chris. They took that money, released the husband. It was a couple and another young lady, 24 years old, in their car. They took the money, kept them for 4 weeks, and then released the husband to go and look for more money. The husband went and stayed for 1 week, didn't have that money. And then they released the wife to join the husband to look for the money. So the wife went, and the money wasn't coming because they could not afford it. So the gang again went after the husband, looking to kidnap them. So up till now, they are still in hiding. But in the end, with messages that we sent, we called Capo Daniel. I reached Dr. Ayabacho. He referred me to Capo Daniel. Capo Daniel didn't make any sense. And then Stocks Kongo got involved, and different people got involved. And they finally released the young lady, but they kept her for almost 6 weeks. And then as of yesterday, they picked up a child from school and demanded $800,000. The family was able to afford $600,000, and I'm not sure they have released that child. So please, can somebody tell Ayabacho to kindly share this $80 million francs to his boys in Mezam, especially so that our people can have peace. My second point goes
okay,
to
hold on. I think Tapang wanted to say something. Just hold on. I'm not dropping you. Tapang, go on, please.
Okay.
Yes, hello, Ma. It's with great regrets that I would say, if this truly has happened or is happening, It's very, very sad in this revolution. But I will say the ADF that I know, that I have known, and that I will continue to know, does not in any way support the kidnapping of civilians. Not even women and children.
I will stop.
Can I just speak? Let me speak and end so that you can speak.
Hold on. I will stop you there. Please, sometimes we need to be honest. I don't know how you can come and sit there and say the ADF does not abduct
If you have
civilians.
proof, can you show me?
When you heard references made by the caller,
what is the proof?
To calling. Hold on. Let me make the point. She made references to calling Capo Daniel, to calling Ayaba, to calling
and Success Congo
members.
And Success Congo. She just mentioned Success Congo.
Paid. Listen.
She mentioned Success Congo, which means it's Atanganji boys. It's Atanganji boys, not ADF.
Who are the
She mentioned Success Congo. Listen to her last words. She says Success Congo.
The people that are being paid 80 millions are Atanganji boys. Come on.
Yes, she just mentioned Success Congo. That is the word she just mentioned. She mentioned
80 million.
These
is
are
it going to
Atanganji
boys?
ADF. They are not ADF.
80 million. Who is it going to? To Atanganji boys?
Where is the 80 million? This is speculation. Where is the 80 million?
But you mentioned it. You said it. You have
I say it's propaganda.
You have the story here. Tapang, you said they took money. That is what you wrote.
Millions of dollars.
That is what you wrote. You said
so
they
where
took
is the 80 million here? Where is the 80? Show me the 80 million.
But listen, let me ask you another question. Hold on, please. Tapang, let me ask you. It is established. ADF fighters inside Mancon, or the Labokang or other places, they arrest our people, they take millions from them. Why are they not going after? Why are they not going after francophones inside Bamenda? Why?
Why? Good question, Uncle Chris. Let me just use the word I always call you at the backstage, Uncle Chris. Good question. Why are they arresting? Let's go back to the facts. Are they enablers? If they are, they should be arrested.
Oh, francophones are not enablers.
If francophones are enablers, they should be arrested.
All right, I think the population gets you. Let's get back to the question, to the caller, please.
Okay.
Hello.
Secretary Chris.
Yes, ma'am.
As I said, the unfortunate thing is that with all the civilians that ADF is kidnapping, they have not kidnapped even a single francophone.
That's the point I'm making.
And then, let me tell you, Efang is in Ashong. Ashong is closer to Pinyin. All the cows in Pinyin have been stolen by Efang. The last year, before Christmas, the ADF boys went to Santa and stole 100 cows. We sent boys to trace them. They trace and trace and trace, and they got to Alabukam, and they found out that the ADF boys who stole those cows were heavily armed, and they could not face them. Just a month ago, Efang of Ashong also sent a few Fulani boys to go to Pinyin, and they swept what Dr. Fonkam's cows, all of them, not even leaving one. So ADF is really making money out of this, out of the sweat of our people, and they need to stop. They must stop.
All right.
Then my second thing is to Tapang Ivo. Tapang Ivo, I know you. I've spoken to you. You are very arrogant and very disrespectful. We pay, some of us pay for ABS, and you cannot come and sit there and disrespect our president, Madame Marianta. Tapang Ivo is kind of divided now because he is not in the inner circle of Ayabacho's group, and they're not sharing the money with him. But that's their business. If he accepts to come on ABS, he must know that some of us are funding ABS, and he must watch his mouth. He's very ignorant, he's very arrogant, and next time we will not get him to come to ABS. He must respect our president. Thank you, Secretary Chris.
All right, thank you. Not only respecting our president, I think when you are on television, you have to demonstrate some dignity no matter who you are addressing. We can all disagree, but we have to speak to each other with some dignity. All right. Your hand was up, Tapang. Go on.
Thank you, Chris. Can I drop something?
Let me just briefly interject here. I think what she's saying is absolutely right. I'm very arrogant to every enabler and La République du Cameroon enabler, including her.
Thank you, Chris. Can I say something?
You are demonstrating it here. unfortunately, the people out there watching and listening to you, they are more dignified than what you try to.
Can I drop in something there, Secretary Chris?
Let's get to the next caller here. This is, oh, I missed that caller there. Let's see who is next, ground zero.
Secretary Chris, can I drop something?
I will come to you next. I will come to you, Prince Jeka. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Secretary Chris, the anchorman.
I thought you called before. Did I take your call before?
No, you put me on hold. You did put me on hold, Secretary Chris.
Okay, all right. Go on, sir. Go on. Good to hear. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Mazam County.
All right.
I wish to applaud all of you in the studio, my brother Tapang Ivo, my brother Prince Jeka, because they are people of my age group. I also wish to applaud the barrister and applaud you, especially Secretary Chris. And I want to give in this key point here first, Secretary Chris. From today, Ambazonians should know that Secretary Chris holds the key to collaboration in this our liberation struggle. If Secretary Chris is willing, he will be able to collaborate every fraction of this struggle, because he has the revolution has proven that he is the one holding the key, because he can bring everyone together. If Secretary Chris has the willingness to be open, and I want to tell Ambazonian this: if we have to go forward in this revolution, we need to put party politics aside, because if we come to ABS and we keep party politics aside and talk on behalf of the flag, we will go forward. But if we bring party politics, we cannot go forward, because Tapang Ivo will be trying to project ADF, while Chris Jeka will be trying to project the interim government. But if we put the flag first and we keep party politics aside, then we will move forward. We should not point accusing fingers, because all of us have faltered. The IG faltered of killing 39 in Bui.
No, that is hold on. Hello. Where did you get your facts about the IG killing 39?
Good.
The Bishop Egewan and yourself, and you came on ABS, you came on ABC, and you said the 39 who were arrested in Bui should be exterminated. That is what you said. We have the records, we have the videos.
All right.
I would have projected it to you if I had the. So what I'm saying.
All right. Hold on. Every broadcast I have made, go to YouTube and you will find it. Facebook, you will find it. If you find it, please forward it to me, and I will invite you to the show.
Yes, Secretary Chris, you can't deny it, because I'll forward it to you, but I'm not sure if you will be able to invite me on a show, because you made that pronouncement on ABC when you were still with Sako.
Well, again, I say you are mistaken. If you find it, forward it to me, and I will indeed play it. I think you are probably misinterpreting what was said. We will never, ever encourage the killing of a single fighter in this struggle. My own brother is there in the bush for 5 years and counting, and you think I will sit here and ask for other fighters to be killed? I think you misunderstood what was said, I guess. But listen, we need to call, we need to take other calls. Let Prince Jeka respond to this so that we can move on. Thank you for the call. Prince Jeka, go on, please.
Secretary Chris, when you get to shows like this with this kind of people, you have to have tactical questions, because you have mostly people who have been trained to become Facebook warriors and propagandists calling. Number one, first, ask the caller who is calling that, how can you bury 39 people without anybody knowing? Where are the graves? Where are the graves? That's the question. When anybody ever asks you about these dirty questions, which is being springing up always from Bowie, ask them, can you bury 39 people in Ambazonia without nobody knowing? Come on. Ambazonians are not stupid. Then number two, Tapang is always dragging himself away from Success Congo. When they say, oh, Success Congo, Tapang will say, no, it's La Republique. Tapang, were you not the one who directed Nambere to go and meet Success Congo? Why is it happening now that you're running from Success? These are things which some of you just make me laugh, my brother. So Nambere's audio is still in our archives. Very clear and very pronouncing. You sent Nambere to go and meet Success Congo. Success Congo took Nambere from there and brought Nambere to Cameroon. Until Nambere suffered everything he went through, until they had to kill him, and then he snuck away like a small mole back to Nigeria. So why are you running today away from Success Congo? That anything, this woman that was calling is mentioning Success Congo, anything in Success Congo in this show, you don't want to get it. I don't understand. Because Nambere made it very clear. He said, you introduce him to Success Congo. Me, I like us to dot the I's and the T's. I believe you're a very learned colleague here. My brother, you went to school so well. And I'm somebody which I reason logically. When I pick the one, the two, and I combine it, it makes me reason, and I don't like to be driven around. If you pick Nambere, you pick Success Congo, it gives you to Tapang. If Nambere was in La Republic, that means even you, Tapang, are part of La Republic. Let's be reasoning. That's how I reason, eh? And you in America, you know that's how the youths, which are being brought up in this way in the Western world, that's how their reason is. Their reason is not being miscalculated. No. If you pick one and you put together, it goes.
It's a shallow reasoning. It's very shallow.
No, it's not a shallow reasoning, Tapang. If you directed Nambere to Success Congo took him to La Republic, and La Republic used him to kill our people and even look for commando. That means you are not even different from the Ayaba. You are not different from the... That's the truth. That's why you're objecting everything concerning Success Congo. So, Chris, your mic is mute. Unmute yourself. Your mic is muted, Secretary Chris. We need to be right. Our brothers are dying. The youths are dying.
All right. Please, we cannot go back litigating all of this. It doesn't make any good to us. Let's see if we can get maybe the last caller here. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling all the way from Germany.
All right. And what is your contribution, sir?
Okay, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, I just want to make a few comments, and I will likely be asking a question to Tapang Ivo. Tapang thinks that he is smart, but he forgets that Ambazonians are smarter. To get Tapang, the only thing you need to do is to listen to him carefully and critically. You will realize that most of the time when he speaks, he keeps shooting himself in the leg. I will quote two instances on the show this evening. Tapang just made a comment that Ayabacho wouldn't want to collaborate or unite with other leaders because they are politicians. But he forgets that he, Tapang and Ayabacho were the one announcing on social media that they have an alliance with Seseko, a Seseko, not a politician. Again, listening to Tapang this evening, Tapang also questioned that Marianta is not his president. Who made her president? He forgets that he was one of the leaders of the consortium that were controlling the whole of Ambazonia. Who made Tapang a consortium leader?
That's a very good question and a legitimate
one. If you
listen
to him critically, you realize that he keeps fooling around thinking that he is very smart, which is very wrong. And to answer this question that everyone has been asking, where is ADF fighting? Let me assure you, you can write this down. Everyone listening to me right now, write this down. ADF will fight when Ambazonia will come. Ayabacho is very smart. He is preserving his arsenals. He is preserving his fighters. Immediately Ambazonia will come, we will see ADF fighting. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Very legitimate point, so thank you. Tapang, please take the opportunity 1 minute and answer that. We can't take any more calls, ladies and gentlemen. The time is far spent. Tapang, go on, please.
Yes. Apparently, I want to thank that caller for expressing his point of view. And if you've realized, I've never been a politician in this revolution. Someone asked, and he asked, who appointed Tapang? Oh, you were the president. I was the president of an NGO registered in Cameroon called the Cameroon Association of the Cameroon Civil Society Organization, the Consortium. That was an NGO. Can you consider
yourself a leader?
I'm a president. I was the president of an NGO. Ayaba
who
is the president of an NGO. Ayaba collaborates with Sisiko, who was dismissed by Sako the thief of an NGO. So Sisiko was not even a president at the time Ayaba established collaboration with Sisiko.
When you became
Sisiko is only just a person who was dismissed from his position.
When you became the leader of the consortium and everybody embraced you, including myself, who
that was an
elected
NGO,
you?
Correct? And not the president of Ambazonia. I have
Who
never been the president
you?
of Ambazonia.
Tapang, at that time you were essentially leading this struggle. You and
no, I've never been the
Barretta,
president
you know
of Ambazonia. Never. I was a president of an NGO.
Yes, who elected you the president?
The NGO members elected me the president of the NGO.
Okay,
assuming,
good. Assuming
the time will come for Amazonia to elect a president.
That
day all of us will go down and vote.
Assuming the NGO leaders elected you. You think that
I'm not assuming.
You think President Marianta elected herself?
She is a member of an NGO.
You think she elected herself? I'm asking you.
No one is the president of Ambazonia.
Do you think she elected herself?
She elected herself, whoever is a comrade.
All right. Tapang, listen, thank you very much. Let me give the last voice to the last minute to Prinjeka. We lost Barrister Martin and Prinjeka. Please, 50 seconds for the last point.
I want to just say this, Ambazonians, and to my fellow long-time comrade. I could say he's even worth being calling my mentor, because people knew me as Prince Jeka starting from Tapang. So I want to say this to all of us. We are all matured and we are wise. And Tapang, as a youth, I believe him there knows what our people are going down, and knows that mostly is the youth which are they are dying, they are perishing on the ground. We need to be honest to ourselves, and to all Ambazonians on the ground, we need to be honest to one another. I'm very happy we had this debate, because it's good when we speak the truth to one another. And I believe him as Tapang Ivo, going back today for the almost 6 years we have known each other, he has gotten some truth from me, which I believe that's what guides us. And I know he has so much pain in his mind. He's very good towards the revolution, but he should reconsider his pain with the blood of Ambazonians which have been perished on the ground. I believe he joined you here today because he feels the pain of those souls of the young ones which are being killed. And based on that fact, whatever is making me feel bad, because I know he will not say it here, but he's feeling bad. I know. I have worked with him. I know the passion he has for the revolution, but I understand where his grief is. We all have those griefs, but it's time we all have to further this revolution to the ground. He should get up as a young man and stand and face these old people and tell them the truth, just like what he's telling Ayaba now. It's not only has to be Ayaba. I used to say on my live show that the place for is today is Tapang that was supposed to be there. But because he took bitterness and anger, they say in life, once you start hating and you start becoming bitter, the next stage is witchcraft. So he needs to calm down, bring himself down as a Tapang we used to know, tell the people the truth, stand for the revolution, and then let's move this thing to be very easy. You can see he has a very great skill here. If we are not Ambazonians, you will fall for his tricks. You will not know that what he's saying here, some propaganda. You will easily fall. That's the truth. And that's are the gifts we have in Ambazonia. We are all blessed. So we should not use it against us, but we should use it for the journey to Boya. So that's what I have to say. And I want to tell Ambazonians that please be focused. And anything concerning ADF, I will not lie you for whatever propaganda Tapang has said here. Let's distance ourselves, because dotting the I's and the T's, if Ayaba is not involved in La Republic, there are people within his camp which him, the Ayaba, knows that work with La Republic.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Tapang and Prince Jeka and Barrister Martin, we lost you. Thank you for joining the show. If need be, we will bring you back again. Thank you and good night, sirs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the night. But before I go, let me assure you, at ABS, we want to foster collaboration and unity in this struggle, and we will not shy away from any debate, from any guest. If you are out there, you want to participate in these discussions, feel free to pick the phone and call and say, hey, Chris or Secretary Chris, I'd like to come on ABS and share an idea or share a point or discuss a point. You are more than welcome to come, even if you are in La République du Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to start talking to ourselves before we talk to La République du Cameroon. I am one of those who have been called severe names, including from Tapang Ivo. I invited him to come here. I should have said, hey, why should I get this guy here who has called me names? In fact, when I called him yesterday, he came on apologizing and said, hey, Secretary Chris, you know, we are in this struggle. We have said certain things, but know that this is a struggle. I don't care about that. Mark Barretta said things like that. I brought him here. I am very open to bringing every Ambassadorian who has a point to ABS television. However, I expect that when you come on, you have to conduct yourself and demonstrate some dignity, because when you come here and want to present yourself as a tout, as a rogue, people don't take you any seriously. So, again, thank you for tonight. I hope that you have enjoyed this and benefited somehow, and I look forward to coming back in the course of the week, possibly on Friday, with another broadcast. In the meantime, Mike Fusi will be here tomorrow with the War Zone. And let me make the last appeal to you. For those of you who made pledges to ABS during our fund drive and you have not yet redeemed those pledges, please, I'm urging you, redeem those pledges. I'm sure you have the payment platforms. If you don't have the payment platforms, text me with a number that you call through, and you will receive those payment platforms. Thank you so very much for staying put. I look forward to being back here Friday. Good night.
Honorable Fingeka Etoke, Ejoke. Florida oh yo kanye uwa no metunga emuma uwa dongi tekora omuwele ya omowa okeleko emuma uwa dongi tekora omuwele ya omowa okeleko emuma uwa o adongi tekora omuwele ya omowa okeleko emuma uwa ratonga kumeyangani toimeke modona manoli nidunge awe andi okeleko matongo mare okeleko umunamuna okeleko natelonji awanga okeleko o America okeleko o UK okeleko natelo Texas okeleko ingondo na emberewe yo ere ya monya oyo ndi bakekide ewe nilitunga okeleko ingondo na emberewe yo irango ninyango evuyo ngaja ninginya okeleko bea kokeleko ya wende kokeleko bamenda olimbe o Nigeria, o Algeria, o Ethiopia, o Saudi Arabia.
Okeleko